Whether you are pitching a potential client, a media outlet, or you just want to be prepared when someone asks you, what do you do? It's important to practice and be prepared with a killer elevator pitch. And today we are talking about the 3 keys to a successful pitch and how to use it to successfully sell yourself and the impact you are making. Welcome back. Today we are talking all about how to nail your elevator pitch. And what do I mean by elevator pitch? Well, I'm glad you asked. An elevator pitch is basically a short and concise statement that describes what you sell, your product or service, and short as in think about the amount of time that you would have with someone on an elevator ride. So if someone in an elevator asks you, hey, what is it that you do? You would have maybe 15, 30, 60 seconds to fill them in and tell them what you do. So ideally, this is a statement that you have boiled down to 1 to 2 sentences. And if you're anything like me, that can be kind of tough. I'm not always the most concise. And so I'm going to share the 3 things that have really helped me to drill down to the most important information to share in those moments when you have an opportunity to really sell yourself. And this is going to be super helpful because in the next episode, we'll be talking with public relations ninja, Nicole Maiden, a dear friend of mine, all about how to pitch yourself and gain press coverage for your business or your passion project. So this is going to be step 1 in getting ready to do exactly that. Okay, so here are my top 3 tips for starting to craft this elevator pitch. And then, of course, you want to practice it. That's going to be key to this whole process. But first and foremost, you want to take the time to sit down with a piece of paper or your phone or a blank Word document and just answer the question, who are you and what do you do? In clear, plain language. So you want to be able to communicate this clearly in a way that even a first grader could understand. Sometimes we're so close to our message and to the products that we are providing that we can describe them in these high level ways that don't actually connect with the people that we want to impact. So one way I heard it was that if a listener's brain has to work too hard to understand what you're saying, it won't have as much impact or it won't be memorable. It actually comes down to if the person's brain has to burn too many calories just to understand what you're saying, they'll tune you out. I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you on the listening end, but I surely have. And this is why you want to practice delivering your 15 to second elevator pitch so that when you have these opportunities, you aren't sitting there like a deer in headlights. Oh my goodness, I remember when I first started my wellness business and I was making that shift from corporate America to my health and fitness business, people would ask me what I do and I would ramble on like a crazy person and I would just watch the light in their eyes start to fade. Like their attention was slowly fading away and they were just trying to get out of that conversation in any way possible. I want to avoid you or help you avoid that happening to you. And number 1, sitting down and just being clear, giving the exact what I do and what I offer was step 1 for me. A great extra resource for this is a book that I love. I talk about, if you know me personally, you've heard me bring up this book. It's called Building a Story Brand. And it's all about how to clarify your message so that it connects with the people you want to connect with. And we'll even be bringing in an upcoming podcast guest to talk more about the story brand framework and how to apply it to your message. So be on the lookout for that. So first step to nailing your elevator pitch is to be clear. Number 2 might seem obvious, but it's to be confident. Now, I don't know about you, but I get super awkward when talking about myself. I am so uncomfortable, and I typically end up almost downplaying or being overly humble in a way that doesn't come across very strong. And when you're giving your elevator pitch, this is not the time to downplay yourself. So the trick that I have come up with, because I'm going to be real with you, I still get awkward when I have to talk about myself. But the trick that I came up with is this. When I have an opportunity to talk about a product or service of mine, I think about how I would be describing a friend's product or service instead, because I am the ultimate fangirl. I am the ultimate hype girl for especially my friends and people who I truly believe in. And it's very easy for me to talk at length and very excitedly about the things that they are offering. So instead, I have to tap into that same energy when I'm talking about my own events or products or services. And it helps me to come across as not overly just like confident or in a negative way, but it helps me come across as genuinely excited and clear about what it is that I do. So I think we've all probably seen situations where someone had an opportunity to really sell themselves, but because they were a little unsure, or maybe you felt that. I so have. So that's why I can speak about it so confidently is, you've seen a person have this great opportunity, but not fully harness it because they weren't confident in who they are. But if that still is a little awkward, no worries. I'm going to give you a third one that I think will actually really, really help you feel more confident in what you're delivering. And that is to talk about the contribution that you're making. So what I mean by this is people don't care as much what you do as they care about the impact that it will make on them. So instead of just saying what you do, one of the ways to phrase your elevator pitch is to share the impact that you make and then how you're making that impact. Or another question to ask yourself, another way to get at this information is to ask yourself, how do you make people feel? When people use your product or your service, how does it make them feel? How does it impact their life? So some good starters for a phrase that is going to get at the impact would be something like, I help, and then you insert whoever your target demographic is, do or accomplish X, Y, and Z. So I help people accomplish this. And I do that by, that's where you would insert what your product or service is. So that's an easy way to lead with the impact by saying, hey, here's how I help people. And the way that I do it is through, in our case, it's live events and an online community. Or you can also use the phrase, I save people from. This is actually something that I got from the Story Brand podcast. So the book I mentioned earlier, they also have a podcast. And they gave this example for a dentist. A dentist could obviously say, I'm a dentist, and that would be really clear. No one would be confused about what that is. But instead, a different twist that would get more at the impact being made would be for that dentist to say, I save people from a smile that they don't like. That really gets you in the feels. If you think about, gosh, how would life feel if I didn't like my smile? It kind of gives us a more visual representation of exactly the impact that business is making. So let's do a quick recap. Those 3 keys to nailing your elevator pitch are, number 1, to be clear. Have a simple and to the point description of your business, your offerings that even a first grader could understand. Number 2 is be confident. And if you struggle with this like I do, think about how you would rave about a friend's product or service and then insert your own name. And then 3 is talk about the contribution. Talk about the impact that you and your business are making, because that ultimately is what people are going to care most about. Okay, so my challenge to you this week, I'm not just going to let you sit with that information. I'm going to challenge you to take it and put it into action. So spend some time this week reviewing and practicing your own elevator pitch or drafting it for the first time if this is never something you've thought of. Bonus points. This is for those of you who love extra credit. Bonus points if you share it with 5 people and get their feedback. Be willing to ask them, hey, is this clear? When I say this in response to the question, what do you do? Is it clear to you? If you didn't know me, would you understand exactly the impact that I make? One way that you can do this is you can head over to our Powerhouse Women community on Facebook. You can literally just search those words, Powerhouse Women community, and share your elevator pitch in the conversation thread for this episode, because that is a really safe place to get some feedback, be able to contribute to other women who are looking for feedback on their own elevator pitch, and do it in a really safe space. Now, don't forget, we are celebrating the launch of the podcast by giving away a free Ultimate Powerhouse Experience ticket for our annual event in September, Powerhouse Women 2019. And all you have to do, this is so super simple, but it's a huge contribution to us. All you have to do is subscribe to the show, download all the episodes. Even if you can't listen to them right now, just hit download and then leave us a review. Let us know what you have been loving on the podcast and what you want to hear more of in the future, because we want to know how we can best serve you. And above all, here is what I want you to know. You have a message that the world needs to hear. Even if you don't know exactly what it is yet, you have one. And your story, your message, and your gifts deserve to be shared. As always, we are here to help you do exactly that, and you do not have to do it alone.